Hey everyone, it's Kaz, and this is going to be a little bit of a different video than what I normally do. Well, I mean, it's normal. I normally do random videos about train simulators, but this video today, even though we're playing Run 8, and we're playing on a server with other people, we've got SLAB LPC, so this train's going to be going down the Sligman sub. But this video isn't about the train running. This video is actually going to be about Microsoft Train Simulator 2 and my opinions and the numbers that I've been able to gather on why I don't think we're going to see that simulator. And why do I bring this up? Well, there's a lot of people. Well, let's rewind a little bit. A couple months ago, Microsoft announced that they were making a new flight simulator. And don't break anything. And a lot of people in the train sim community picked up on this and said, "Oh, does that mean we're getting a new Microsoft Train Simulator?" And that's been I've seen that comment made a couple of different times on a couple of different threads on Reddit and different forums. And if you're wondering where we're at, we're down in LA right now. We're just now leaving the Alhambra corridor. Alameda, not Alhambra, Alameda. Alameda corridor. Alameda. We're right here. And we're going to go this way through Hobart. Anyways. So people came out and said, well, we're going to, new Microsoft Train Simulator. Or new Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going to get a new Microsoft Train Simulator. And before I start getting really far into this, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you're wrong, man, you're stupid, you're like dumb." I'm not going to be like that. In fact, I am all for Microsoft making a new train simulator, especially if a lot of the stuff that has come out of the rumor mill regarding what Microsoft Train Simulator 2, 10, 15, 20 years ago when it was canceled, what it was supposed to have. If any of that stuff was, holdover and true. Like, I'm just constantly always editing my video stream. A lot of that stuff would be really, really awesome to see in a train sim, but I don't think we're gonna get that stuff. I'm trying to remember. There's a button that puts my camera back to the center. F11. So, on one hand, it's like, yes, Microsoft Train Simulator 2 would be cool if they came out with it. On the other hand, here's why I don't think they're going to do it, and why they're not going to make it. And the reason is, and this is, first off, I'm going to give you my hypothesis. Second, I'll give you the numbers I came up with to support it. This video isn't going to be a 100% definitive, this is the truth and you need to listen to it. This is just an opinion piece. If you disagree with me, that's okay. We can have a back and forth. Not to plug my own stream, but on Friday nights I stream Run 8 just like this, and if you want to come in on my Friday night stream, we can talk about that as well. I could talk about it there as well. But as I'm saying, this is an opinion piece. I don't think the market is there. Our speed is 40 as soon as we pass this. I don't think the market is there. I don't think there's enough people playing train simulators to justify spending the money on as a developer to make another one. Now, yes, you've got game companies like Dovetail Games and N3V and Run 8 Studios and the Open Rails team and Zusi and World of Subways. You have those simulators and those developers already making them. But just on my list here, I've got some notes here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 train simulators. I've got Train Sim World, Tane, Trains 2019, Trains 12, Railworks, Train Sim, Run 8. That's 6 train simulators right there, and there's more that I didn't list, like Open Rails, Zusi, World of Subways. I think there's one other one. original Microsoft Train Simulator. There's still people who play original Microsoft Train Simulator. And I go, why? When you've got games like Trains and Railworks and Run 8, which have vast improvements in their graphics. I digress. But you have a large market of that. But how many people are actually playing those? Well, not that many, comparatively to people playing flight simulators. And I actually took the time and I went onto a website called streamcharts.com, and I punched in different train sim names and got the average for 30 days number of players for a majority of the train simulators. There's a catch though. That's only the people playing those on Steam. If you're not playing it on Steam, which like I don't play half my train sims on Steam. Most of mine I've bought separately. Run 8 isn't on Steam, obviously. So I kind of had to do a little math and kind of guesstimate a little bit, and I checked a couple other sources. I checked the N3V site, and their numbers kind of matched what the numbers I came up with. But Train Sim World for the last 30 days has had about 272 players average playing it. That's not total. That means there might be more, there might be less. But that middle ground, that average, on average, if you were to look at every single computer in the US, or in the world actually, at least 272 of them would be playing Train Sim World. Tane, just Trains a New Era, just on Steam, had an average of 112 players. Trains 19 had an average of 80 players. Trains 12 had an average of 66 players. The only one that actually stands out is Train Sim, or Railworks as I like to call it, with 1,051 players average over 30 days. Now granted, that number is probably much higher than what it normally is, simply because it is September 1st, and last month, I want to say it was last month, the new update for Railworks came out, which, you know, is definitely going to draw in more players. But what I did for the Trains series, since I know that those sims are sold separately as well, they're not sold on Steam, they are sold on other markets, is I took the average player base, that average number of people playing on Steam, and I multiplied it by 2. So for that was just people playing on average over 30 days, not on Steam. Now this number's not going to be 100% accurate, and you could probably find a better, more accurate source, but we don't need our numbers to be 100% accurate. They just need to be a good, fair representation. And I feel like multiplying the average number of people on Steam playing by 2 gives me a very good number. Now this multiplication by 2, I carried across every game that I know is sold on a platform other than Steam. So I didn't do it for Train Sim World, and I didn't do it for Run 8 or Railworks. Sorry, I didn't do it for Run 8 or... Well, that's not a great crossing. But I did it for the Train series, and I did it for some of the flight simulators that we'll get to in a minute, because I wanted to get a fair idea of what the number of players are for these games. And then I added those two numbers, those two averages together. So, you know, Trains A New Era is probably averaging around 336 people per week, or per 30 days that are playing. We're taking a crossover at a little bit of a high speed here. Trains 19 is averaging around 237. Trains 12 is probably in the 168 range. And those are pretty good numbers for train simulators. I then took the total number of average players, added it together, and then divided it by 5, and that gave me a number of about 412 for the average number of players playing Run 8. Now that number is just kind of a pull out my ass number, but I have no way of, you know, checking and seeing what the average number of people playing Run 8 is without going to every single server and counting every single day. And that's not something I'm capable of doing because I have a life. So I took that number, that total average number of players playing, over 30 days. I added it together. I divided it by the number of sims, and then I multiplied that number by the number of months. So assuming that average number that I got, which if you take the total number of average players across all sims, it works out to about 413 people playing on average a train simulator over 30 days. Now this number is going to go up and down throughout the year. It's going to fluctuate even over sims, and that number might be a higher number. But you multiply that number by 12 and you get somewhere in the 5,000. I think it was like 490. I just rounded up to a nice even 5,000 people on average are playing train simulators over the course of an entire year. And I can kind of back that number up. I went to our train sim and I looked at how many people are using our train sim, and it's just shy of 3,000 people are subscribed to the subreddit of our train sim. It's 2,990 or 2,889. So if half the people playing train simulators are also using Reddit, then that number, that works out to a good fair number. So I'm comfortable saying on average for a full year, 5,000 people play train simulators. I'm happy with saying that number. So now let's compare that number to flight simulators. This one was a little harder because while there are fewer, more mainstream flight simulators, I only looked at 4. Only 2 of them are on Steam. So the first number I got was Microsoft Flight Simulator X. Now, yes, I know you can buy this game on disc. You could buy it, like I have a disc copy of it. But I only looked at the Steam numbers because I'm pretty sure you can't really play on newer versions of Windows, older versions of FSX. I think only the Steam version works on Windows anymore. I could be wrong, and so my number is probably much lower. But I got 2,099 players on average per month for 30 days playing FSX. I then looked at X-Plane, and these are just the numbers for Steam. 1,216. I then multiplied that by 2, like I did for the train sims, so the multiplication in the math, adds up. And I can actually put my speed up now, I think to 50. I'm looking at my numbers and not, observing my train speed. Yeah, my track speed is now 50. So I took the X-Play number and I multiplied it by 2, and I got 2,432. I then checked some numbers on VATSIM, and it kind of worked out about the same. So I took the average number of flight sim of people playing FSX and the average number of people playing X-Plane total, and I used that number to kind of come up with the number of 2,266 for the number of people playing Prepared, which is another flight sim that I have no actual numbers. I kind of have to make educated guesses here on these numbers. And then just because I could, and I do know there's a fair number of people who do play it, I checked how many people on average are playing just the Steam version of DCS World, and I got 550. So I take those numbers, add them together, divide them by 4. That gives me over 30 days an average number of 1,836 players. That is multiple times more than the number of people on average over 30 days playing train simulators. I then take that same number, that 1,836, and I multiply it by 12 for the number of years, and I rounded that number down. I rounded it down to 22,000 players on average playing that game. That means, these are people, and for both averages, these are people who own, that's not saying that's how many copies of the game that's sold, that's people who are loading the game up even for 10 minutes on their computer. Maybe they're doing route building, or they're testing an airport, or they're testing a reskin that they've made. We're looking at 22,000 people on average are doing something in a flight simulator versus 5,000 yearly on average doing something in a train sim.
And to back up my 22,000 I got for Flight Sims, I looked at the number of subscribers on our Flight Sim. It's 63,575. That's a lot. That's a significantly far larger number than on Train Sim. So we can already see that we've got, Flight Sim's got a big number. Train Sims are still in there. There's a good, number, but it's just that gap. This gap here is massive. And that's where it gets into the money. If I'm a video game developer, if I had a video game studio right here and I said, we want to make a simulator, we want to make a sim game to cater to the sim markets, what are we going to make? I'm going to look at that number of 5,000 players on average and be like, that's a small number compared to 22,000. If I sell a train simulator, I'll bring up my calculator on my phone. If I sell a train simulator for $60 times 5,000 average, assume that I sell that many, I'm going to make about $300,000. But if I sell a flight simulator for $60 times 22000, I'm going to make $1.3 million as a developer. And you have to think about too the cost of development. I have to, if I'm a game studio, I have to think of how much is it going to cost me to develop this game? How much is it going to cost me to market this game? Even if I market it, if I just put it out there on Steam. It's going to cost me money to buy the hardware. It's going to cost me money to buy the software. It's going to cost me money to pay my employees. I have to make back every penny that I spend on this game, and make more money so I can invest it in making more projects. So if I'm a big-time video game studio and I sit there and say, well, it's going to cost me $200,000 to develop a game, and I'm only going to make $300,000, I'm probably not going to make a game for that market. But if I know I can make a game for $500,000 or $300,000 or whatever, but I know I'm going to make over $1 million in sales, I'm going to make that game because I'm making a net profit. But you also have to think, you have to understand that if there's not enough money there, not enough market, they're probably not going to make the game. And Microsoft is a big company. Yeah, they could afford to lose some money on a product, but it's not a smart investment to make a product you're going to lose money on. Now, I know some of you will make the counter argument of, well, look how much paid DLC that we can get for Train Sim World and Train Sim and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, you can get a lot of, paid DLC for that game because they have to somehow make more money. They can't just keep making a new version of that game and charging you $60 every year, even though they don't. They could. And expect to make money. They have to. I gotta get my speed up to 50. I'm like creeping along here at 20. They have to actually, make a profit. So that's why they continuously are releasing new paid DLC for you to buy. And it's also why they kind of have some shady business practices. But that's a video for another time. I will never not shit on Dovetail Games. I'm hearing a buzzing. It's guys outside doing some landscaping. But you have these video game studios. They want to make a product that they can make money off of. They want to make the product that they want to make. There is money to be made in flight simulators. There isn't as much money to be made in train sims. Think about this too. Think about some of the logistical things of train sims versus flight sims. In the real world, a train crew, all the cabs of the locomotives are generally the same. This is kind of true for aircraft, although there's variations between models of aircraft and manufacturers, just like there are with locomotives. But a train crew is going to be jumping between different types of locomotives. Like right now I'm driving an ES-44. On Friday's stream, I was driving an SD-40. you know, and probably later I'll be driving a GP40, or maybe I'll be driving an SD70. I'll be jumping around. So being able to build peripherals, controllers, for all of that, very difficult and challenging. However, with flight simulators, you have pilots who sit there and say, I only ever want to fly this one aircraft. So I'm going to drop thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and build myself a full 747 cockpit in my basement. And, you know, so even if it's not making this game, making the peripherals and stuff is still a massive market. And so that's another reason why, you know, train sims, why I don't see the possibility of us getting a Microsoft Train Simulator 2. Oh, and I just blew my thing. I see lights, I don't see a road, I didn't even see a sign. I'm just gonna honk anyways, because why not? Now we're getting up to speed. Yeah, so the idea of a Microsoft making another train simulator is a really, really exciting idea, but realistically, I don't see them doing it just because the market isn't there. Now, I could be wrong. I could probably in 6 months be eating my words when they announce, oh yeah, we made another train sim. I'm like, oh, well, shucks. I guess I gotta go eat my own socks or something. I could be wrong. But it's my very solid opinion, and once again, this is just my opinion, that we probably won't be seeing a Microsoft Train Simulator anytime soon. Now, who knows? You know, Dovetail Games could go belly up. You know, Run 8 could suddenly explode and get purchased, and explode, like just take off. Like V3 comes out and the money's there. And they end up getting bought by, you know, Microsoft, and it becomes Train Sim World, or Microsoft Train Sim 2. Who knows? Who knows? The future is unpredictable. The markets are always fluctuating, and what people want and what people get is always going to be different. And actually, I think I can do 70 because I'm technically a passenger train. Well, I'm an intermodal train, but I think I follow the passenger speed limits. There's the back of our train. What's the speed limit? 50-50. So, in conclusion, like I was saying, I'm not going to hold my breath for Microsoft Train Sim 2. I'm not saying it's not gonna. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to make it. But I'm also not saying that, yes, it's definitively going to come out and we're going to see it in the next 6 to 8 months. If the rumor mill keeps grinding out ideas, I don't know. The last thing, if you watch this video, if you're watching this video all the way through and you go, you're wrong, and here's why you're wrong. In the description, I'm putting a link to my Twitch channel. Every Friday night, at 7 p.m. Pacific, I live stream playing Run 8. Come in, we can have a conversation about it, we can talk about it, we can have a two-way conversation instead of this one-way, me explaining to you my numbers, my math, and everything. And we can actually, you know, we can discuss. I'm open to discussion, I'm always open to that kind of stuff. If you did watch all the way to the end, thank you for watching. I forgot to turn off this one little plug-in thing here because this is actually the same overlay. I literally just took my my overlay for when I do stream. See right there, and I just turned off the top banner, and I forgot to turn off the bits mug. So I apologize for that. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys hopefully in my next vlog or on my Twitch stream. I'm going to hit this crossing and then end the video.
Later.